Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Allen, and today my team and I will be going over the Wayne State Club Soccer proposal. So to begin, I will introduce our team. We have myself, Andrew Allen, as the team leader, Anthony as the project manager, Abdelhadi as the meeting recorder, and Minajul as the team expediter. So the purpose of this topic is to create more student awareness of the club. From the surveys that we conducted, not many people know that the club exists. So that's one of our goals, is to increase awareness, and we'll do this by increasing the advertising around campus and around Detroit. Another purpose is to give the students and faculty a place to de-stress from their work and studies, and the games that the club holds will be a good place for that to happen. Lastly, we need to secure more funding through our sponsors and the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is an easy way to get a lot of money for a one-time cause, and the sponsors can help us raise money long-term. Some of the major problems that we face with this club is a lack of attendance from students. As we said previously, the survey showed that not a lot of people know that the club exists, therefore not a lot of people are showing up. One of this might be due to the lack of seating choices for fans. There's not many stands to sit in, so fans might not feel comfortable going. This problem could be solved by sponsors paying for seating, maybe the Detroit Soccer Club giving us money to pay for these expenses. And the lack of attendance could be solved through this, as well as advances in advertising. And as we currently stand, there are no sponsors or a source of income for the club soccer team. So we have proposed many ways to combat this: the crowdfunding, sponsors, and also going around to restaurants around campus or Midtown and seeing if they are willing to sponsor us as a team. So then we move on to our objectives. We would like to begin working with local organizations such as the Detroit City Football Club and Detroit Soccer District. Detroit City Football Club, I think they would be open to a partnership where we maybe scrimmage with them every once in a while, hold a game where we charge people to come and raise money for both teams. And we could also display banners of the opposite team during our games. The Detroit Soccer District has even approached the team and said that they would give them a discount to use their field, so this would be very helpful in terms of helping out the club team. We would also like to do more community outreach to promote the team, maybe hold events on campus for people that are interested in joining the team, possibly a festival. It's an event that Wayne State does every year. All the clubs get together and promote their ideas and their groups. And then lastly, we would really like to approach Wayne State about just starting the Division II team. I think they would be very interested in this, seeing as the diversity of our university caters to a lot of people who I think would enjoy soccer more than, say, football or basketball. And finally, some background information. The club is continuing to grow. It's not like it's shrinking. There's many people that show up for tryouts. And from the surveys that we took part in, there are a lot of people that are interested. They just do not know about the club. The field, however, and some of the equipment is outdated, and this needs to be fixed. This could be fixed through sponsors giving us money, paying to flatten out the field, pay for new equipment, because right now the team is fully self-funded, so they don't really have the money to do these things. This help would need to come from sponsors or the crowdfunding or the restaurants sponsoring the team. This would be our main source of income to begin improving the club as a whole. Now I will give the presentation forecast. Up next, Abdelhadi will give you the proposal and budget. Anthony will then give the research results, and Manjul will finish it off with the conclusion and recommendations.
My name is Abdelhadi Shuaib, and I'm going to start off by talking about the proposed program that my team has come up with. To start off, I'm going to start talking about how WSU's club soccer team starts working with local organizations in order to better their brand. The first organization that the club soccer team has been working with is the Detroit Soccer District, and this organization has been started by a former member of the club soccer team. His name is Joseph D. Virtuel, and the relationship between the Detroit Soccer District and Wayne State is a very good one, because the Wayne State team has been allowed to practice at the Detroit Soccer District and show off their brand there. And as Detroit Soccer District grows as a brand, and as they grow as an organization and a facility, the Wayne State club soccer team will be right there as a partner, and we will expand and grow as well. The next organization that the club soccer team would like to start working with is Detroit City FC. They are a local soccer team in the city of Detroit with a very large fan base that brings out a lot of people to their games, a lot of attendees. They have admission for their games, and partnering with them would allow WSU's club soccer team to grow as well. So we could help them out, they could help us out, and we could promote our team at their games, they could promote their teams at our games, and they could put a banner up at our field. We would be able to put up a banner at their field, which would help because any student that walks by would be able to see this banner promoting our team in a larger fashion. So as we start to grow our brand and our WSU club soccer team, this will bring more attention to us, and we would like to get more advertising from the school. We can show the school that the club soccer team is a growing and expanding team, and we're bringing more and more people to the games. There's more attendees, there's interest for it, and hopefully the school will be able to advertise us in a way such as putting banners and flyers around the school, around campus, sending out emails about games, or even putting out merchandise in the store. And this could even help out when it comes to funding for the team, because the school doesn't have to directly give the club soccer team money. They could fund in ways by putting our merchandise in the bookstore and the school store and giving the club soccer team a small profit of any sale that happens. And then lastly, building a community around the team. So whether this be students or faculty members at Wayne State that want to come out and watch the game and support the team, or rather it be any members of local high school teams or college teams that are fans of Detroit City FC. So this all comes from building a community and spreading out the WSU's club soccer brand. For the budget, I'd like to start off by talking about the expenses. If you take a look at the graphic on the top right hand of the screen, this shows off the total expenses that the team has to pay for every season. These include the league fees, the referees, the field rental, the bleachers, the cost for coach, replacing equipment, and this totals to about $1,990, which is average for a season. The team, it gets money from players on the team. Each season, the team gets 22 players, and each player pays $100. So that totals to $2,200 for the season from that. And the team also gets money from tryouts. Each player pays $5 to try out, which totals to about $200 on average per season. So on average, the team gets about $2,400 to $2,500. And each season they have to pay $1,990 per season, leaving the team with $400, $500 to spend on broken equipment, damaged jerseys during the season, and any money that isn't spent on that gets saved in the bank account for the next season in case there's any problems to come up. Now, when it comes to the bigger budgeted items, the team would need help from whether it be a local investor or crowdfunding or something along those lines. The team would need help with things like a storage shed, which would be around $400 on average, which would allow the team to keep their equipment on the field. And another thing that would help would be a vendor. This would bring fans to the game, attendees, knowing that there's food there, and this again costs about $400 on average to bring a vendor to the game. Lights on the field, the lights are pretty expensive. They could either be hundreds to thousands of dollars to fix. The team has lights at the field already, but in case an issue comes up. And then the turf field is a big budget item that will be a long-term goal for WSU's club soccer team, which will really need to be funded and would need a sponsor. The turf field would cost over $1 million, and this comes from the average price from the turf. Now, the way to acquire the currency to get these bigger budgeted items would again be to go to local businesses for help, crop funds, so building a better community around the club soccer brand, and getting the fans to help us out to pay for it, or even getting the school to help pay for it in some way. For the summary of the proposed program and budget, I'd like to talk about how it's important for the school and WSU club soccer to integrate with each other, and really that the school funding and advertising us more, or just be working with the partners that the school already has, whether it be a local or a local vendor that could get us a discount in some way, which would be really helpful for the team. Possible sponsorships, this could be from Detroit City FC or any other local business that wants to see the club team grow and help promote soccer in the area. And lastly, growing as a community, getting the fan base out, getting the people to the games, whether it be they want the food there or whether they want to see a night game, whatever the reason may be, just getting them involved. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so we had a few ways we did primary research method. The main way we did it was we took surveys of students at 3 different locations. These 3 locations being 1, the Student Center, 2, the Rec Center, and 3, the Undergraduate Library. We picked these 3 areas because this is a commuter campus and we wanted to make sure we stuck to the highest populated areas in this school. And on top of that, the club team told us that they had already been advertising at the Rec Center, so we wanted to go there and find out how well it was represented. And we thought the best way to do that is go straight to the source. So we asked 5 questions. Our 5 questions being, did you know that Wayne State has a soccer club? And this looks funny, I don't know why this is all out of order, but only 20 people knew that Wayne State had a soccer team of the 100 people we advertised, which isn't surprising, because before I really started working on this project, I didn't really know we had a soccer club either. We asked if they were interested in participating. The overwhelming amount said that they were interested. Our 3rd question was, have you seen any advertising on campus for the soccer club? And not surprisingly, only 5 people said that they'd seen advertising on campus. The 4th question, if so, have you been to any games or events? Surprisingly, 23 people said they have been to events. And now it's not a lot compared to the 100 that we surveyed, but with only 5 people seeing advertising on campus and 23 of them, those same people saying they went to games, that was actually surprising to me. And then the 5th question, how would you feel about Wayne State having a Division II soccer team? An overwhelming amount of people, 83 people, said that they would feel that they think Wayne State should have a Division II soccer team. So that was exciting because we were trying to build a campaign and make a push for Wayne State to have a Division II soccer team. So we did secondary research. Our secondary research consisted of looking into the popularity of soccer in the U.S. And then we also looked into funding. How is soccer funded around the country? So, digging up articles, we found an article that highlighted 5 things that you should have funded before the season. One being the league and NGB dues. Now, NGB dues is just the national governing body. So if it was a Division II soccer team, this would be paying the NCAA dues. 2, you should have money for jerseys and equipment. 3, you need to have money for facility rental, tournaments, entry fee, and the officiating cost. 4, you need to have a travel cost paid for. And 5, this would only be for the Division II soccer team and not a club soccer team. You need to have money for nationals in a postseason. We also looked into the popularity of soccer in the U.S. And reports show that the soccer could be more popular than baseball when the World Cup comes to the United States in 2026. Now, this report was based off two variables in baseball. One, that the batting average has been down, and two, that the attendance for baseball has been down by 1,500 people per game last year. It's quite a bit of people. And then also we found that some cities around the country, like Chattanooga, they have a football club, and they've raised over $650,000 within the first 3 months of planning the soccer team. And it's interesting, they're taking the Green Bay Packers approach. They're selling shares of their team off to people, just ordinary people. So it's not just one rich guy owning the team. The whole city can get behind it and feel like they're a part of it. And I think that's an interesting way to do it, especially because, you know, in this country, sports are so tied to people, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. So that's a good way for soccer to make the breakthrough, get themselves tied into the community. And then it's hard to get them to leave the community. They'll always be engraved there. So our summary, there's ways to fund a Division II soccer team, whether it's fundraising or if you're just playing games. But like in the paper we highlighted, fundraising can be whether it's selling T-shirts at the bookstore or it's getting the athletic boosters involved or getting restaurants in Midtown involved. You gotta get people excited about soccer, and then the money will come in. You won't be able to do it if you don't. You won't be able to get people excited unless you do fundraising. So it's a good way to advertise that you have a soccer team as well as bring in funds. And the Division II programs have their benefits. For instance, soccer is the most popular sport in the world. And with us being such an international college, we have a lot of international students, this could be a way to drive enrollment up, which is big because it's just a way to entice more people to come to this university. And that's all I got. So I'll pass it off to my partner now.
Hello, my name is Manhajo Abedin, and I'd like to start out what we know so far. So basically, first, finding a vendor or organization would be a really complicated and complex task for us to do. So basically, Wayne State University could not fund for the soccer program. We know that so far. So we'd have to go outside our comfort zone and find a vendor organization. But the complex part is we need to find a vendor organization that is interested in funding for a soccer program. Second, we would have to persuade them. We'd have to have the soccer team persuade them. So they would have to allocate funds based on how far the soccer team would go to promote themselves to a Division II team. So that would be a really complex process for that to happen, with all the paperwork and funding and budgeting that the club would have to spend. So second, promotion is really an important thing, and it's primary. So promoting ourselves is really important because not a lot of students know that there's a soccer club at Wayne State University. And if we promote ourselves more, that would mean first, more attention to the soccer club, more people wanting the soccer club to happen, and more money that could be allocated to the soccer club via, say, fans, or ticket sales, or, say, merchandise sales. Third, patience is the key to a Division II team. So what we know so far is basically this would take a long process to happen. Finding vendors and persuading vendors, and then basically upgrading our fields, nets, hiring referees, hiring managers, and basically making ourselves a Division II, a fully fledged Division II team would be a really long process. So it's not something that could be done overnight. So we do recommend that people take this with a form of patience if in the future someone decides that Wayne State University should have a Division II team. And fourth would be that we need the help of Wayne State University, because even with finding vendors and organizations, we still need the student body to support us and to help us, because students are the primary people who would give us ticket sales and buy merchandise. And Wayne State University needs to be needs to help us because they are the ones that would be upgrading the fields, and they would be the ones that are upgrading the nets and the stadiums for the soccer games to happen. So we cannot just do this by ourselves. We do need the help of Wayne State University in the end. And to conclude, the recommendations we found from the project is we could have outdoor events. So one of the things that other sports such as basketball, football have is outdoor events. And that in a way promotes the sport and gets more people to come to games. So with outdoor events, basically you could pass out flyers on the schedule of possible games. And you could have small game of mini soccer, or you could even buy a table soccer table. And with that, you could have people playing table soccer, and you could have basically kids juggling the ball, see how many times they juggle the ball on their feet. So in a way, this would be fun and promote the efforts of the team, and it would make more people come to the events. And another thing that we found was another method that we found for promotion would be the soccer team could go out their comfort zone and basically go to the Midtown events, say restaurants or events happening in Midtown or downtown, and they could promote themselves via, say, tickets, or via giving out flyers or putting up posters. And this is really one of the more helpful things because there's a surge in housing because of the housing efforts at Wayne State University. So more people are going to restaurants, more people are going out. So if we provide flyers everywhere to many of the restaurants and many of the events in Midtown, then that in a way would be promoting, and that in a way would help us to find more people who are interested in soccer. And another method that we found is the boosters. So basically, boosters are fans or athletes who are passionate about the sport, who are willing to fund the sport. So basically, that would be like students who are passionate about soccer, who love soccer, and who want to see a soccer team happen. They would directly allocate their funds and help us make a soccer Division II team. So they would help us allocate the funds for a soccer Division II team. So a booster would always be on your side no matter what because they're fans of the sport. And the knowledge that we gained from the primary research is basically not a lot of people know about soccer, but if we promote ourselves more, then we could have more people interested in the sport, and that would increase the attendance and the amount of people that are willing to help the soccer club out in order to make a Division II team. So yeah, that is all, and have a good day.